welcome to Traveling Inside Out. This is Alina, your host. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to the podcast that explores the world within and out. And thank you for subscribing to Traveling Inside Out, wherever you get your podcast. And if you could review it or, give it a thumbs up or whatever it is that it is happening on your platform, I would really appreciate it. Thank you. So I'm back and I'm also live again. I said that I could give this a try and see how it works. I have to say from the beginning, once again, I'm in Brooklyn and I'm close to a window, so there might be noises from the street because that's how Brooklyn functions. Also, my laptop is not the best, so I truly hope that it's going to stay on for the whole recording. But if I go blank, then means that my laptop is overheating. So, with that taken out of the how is everybody? How is everybody? I am doing this live because I have to be honest with you. It's a bit of a motivation that I get to have recording the podcast. I decided that today's episode is going to be about my immigration story. I didn't receive my green card. Let me just say this from the beginning. But I am a little bit more ahead with the steps that I have taken. So I decided to tell you how it works. So if you are curious about immigration in United States and the legal way and how it works and all that, then stay around and let me tell you how I've done it. However, I am also going to tell you, so wait until the end because I'm also going to tell you uh, how I managed to do it, as in who helped me, how I got help in order for me to be able to do the entire green card paperwork. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, as I was saying, I'm live. I don't know if anyone will join. I'm gonna be very honest. Usually, people listen to my podcast on the other platform, but not on YouTube. But it's something new that I'm trying, so we will see. Anyway, if anyone has any questions during the live, you can go ahead and text them, and then I could answer. Or if you have other questions after you listen to the podcast, you can get in touch with me. Again, you will hear at the end of the podcast how, or yeah, you can basically text me. Okay, so I want to say for whoever hasn't listened to my previous podcast episode, that was in March for when it was my birthday. I talked about getting married to an American citizen, and I'm just mentioning it like that because I need it to explain what kind of files and forms I was able to apply for. And so I got married to a American citizen beginning of January, and then starting with the mid of January, I started the preparation for the documents. Now, obviously, I have to mention the website where everybody needs to go is the uscis.gov, and then you will have there all the forms that you need together with the information about each form and with filling fee and any other requirements that they might have, any updates that they made. There have been a lot of changes that happened during starting 2020 because of the pandemic, and so they grouped forms together or they separated depending on the circumstances in such a way that they are trying to catch up with the huge backlog that they have. And so here we go. What I've done first and foremost was I didn't know exactly in which, like, I wasn't very sure the order in which I need to do the things. So after reading and doing as much research as I was possible able to do, I decided that I'm going to start with the medical examination, which is the form I-693. Um, The form per se is for free. However, you will need to pay for the actual examination, and you need to make sure that you are following the instructions on the governmental page, because you can't just go anywhere. They have specific surgeons that are approved to sign your papers, so you need to go and make um, the scheduling and everything with those specific doctors. Now, I can tell you what I have not done was for me to call to different places around my area to ask for the price. I did not do that. I just assumed that is going to be the same price. However, I don't know if it was, but everywhere I looked online, they were saying that the total price would be around 500. I paid way over that, but let me explain. So, what I've done, I checked the doctor, I made the appointment, and then I went on January 17th. I'm trying, I marked down here the date. So, for whoever is interested to actually see the timeline, uh, you have the dates as well. Again, I want to make sure that everyone understands. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'm just going to tell you what I've done and what worked or didn't work, or where I am in my steps so far. So I'm not telling you that you're supposed to do what I've done. I'm not telling you any of that. I'm just telling you what I've done and where I am in the process. So when I checked the information about this form, it was saying that normally it would be, so the moment when you get your medical examination, so when you get your form stamped by the surgeon, it's going to be valid for 90 days. However, because of COVID, they prolonged, so they made an exception starting 2020, and it was still in January that the exception was still valid, that the medical examination w- would be valid for 2 years. And so when I took that in consideration, I said, okay, I'm just going to send it. However, there were a lot of people online that were saying, do not send your medical examination in the beginning. You need to wait for USCIS to ask for the medical examination. But when I checked today to double check the name of all of the forms that I filed in, the number and the name, I saw that they are now writing on the main page of the governmental USI blah, 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 that you should, if you want no delays for your forms, you should apply the form um, I-693 with your main form, because it is valid for 2 years. So they might have changed the exception and made it a rule. Don't quote me on that. Go and check. But it is saying there that you should file them together. So I guess my gut feeling was okay. So that's what I've done. Now let me tell you a little bit about the medical examination. I was really scared because, long story short, medical system is a wreck in Romania, and I will forever be scared to go to the doctors because I'm scared that they are going to find disease that I don't have, or I'm gonna basically get worse in a hospital. Unfortunately, there's actually a documentary about how the horrible system and circumstances in hospital killed a lot of people. I can't get more into that without crying, and that's not the point. What I'm saying is that I'm always stressed when I go to the doctor. And when I need to take, like, there's always this whenever I go to the doctor and they need to take my blood pressure is always a little bit higher. However, I did have it at some point in my life that it was under. So I guess maybe I wasn't that stressed back then, or I'm just being more stressed right now. So I was really stressed. So they did the following. They took my blood pressure. They also needed to take sample of blood. Now the problem with my blood is that maybe because I don't drink enough water. Point. Let's drink some water. My veins are very thin, and because of that, it's very difficult for blood to be taken out of me. And I did donate blood twice in my life, and it was difficult. However, the lady, I told her, it's a bit difficult for me to donate blood, to get the blood. So she tried from one vein, didn't work. She didn't want to just keep poking at me. So eventually they took it from the back of my hand, which is, as far as I know, it's for what they do for old people because their veins are way more weaker or something like that. And I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, oh my God. It's already 10 minutes. I have so many things to say. Anyway, we continue. They took the blood. They took a urine sample because they needed to. So they needed basically to get sample for blood and for urine for like some vaccines and some drugs. They needed to check for drugs and then for sexual transmitted diseases. Those were the main ones. Now on the form 693, it's basically, I think, only the first two pages that you need to fill in, and then the rest of the form is for the doctor to fill in. Now on the form there was like requirements for x-ray and a lot of other stuff, and I did not do any of that. Also there was a requirement for vaccines, and I do have all of my vaccines taken. However, the proof of that is in Romania, and there was no way for me to get that. I didn't even try. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even try to get in touch with the doctors from back in Romania. I was like, this is not going to happen. Um, and so I just said, I'm just gonna go with my yellow fever vaccine that they didn't even care about. And I'm like, but can you mark it that I have it though? No, we don't care about that. And I'm like, but I have it. And then my COVID vaccine I had four vaccines at the time. And because it was in January, and this is what it really bothered me, I was forced. Oh, I got my tetanus, anti tetanus, or something like that vaccine because apparently it's something that you need to renew every 10 years, and I never knew that. So I knew for a fact that I had it when I was a child. I did not renew it in the last 10 years. Also, it's so insane to me that they are forcing, believe me, I am not against vaccination at all, but it's crazy to me that they are forcing immigrants to get the vaccines, but they are not forcing their own citizens to get the vaccines. And I'm not even mentioning the COVID. So I had a COVID, obviously. I didn't have the anti tetanus. And then at the same time, I also had to get, and this is what I was really upset, anti flu or something like that vaccine. And that cost me even extra money. And that anti flu, it was just because it was January. And January is apparently the season when you're supposed to get that vaccine. So that was just, honestly, I think that that's just another way for them to make a little bit more money. I don't care who listens to me saying this, but that's my opinion on the matter. I did get the vaccine. I did get sick afterwards, a little bit. Or did I get sick, or I just had yeah, I got sick a little bit, and my one of my hands were really hurting because I got vaccines in both hands, one anti-tetanus and one the other one. Now, when I got there, I had to pay $364 total. And I thought that that's my final amount. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing because most of people say that it costs around $500. And I'm like, oh, it's 364. Then that's great. Um, so yeah, then after that, they said that they're gonna send the papers to their main center, and then that I have to go there to pick up my papers. And that happened. I was requested to go. I went there, and I thought that that's when I'm going to get seen by the surgeon. No surgeon saw me. I don't even know if this is okay or not. I'm just telling you what happened. No surgeon saw me. And so I literally just waited in the waiting area. And then at the end, they just said to me my last name, which is still taking me a time to react to the new last name that I have. And they were like, here are your papers. And I'm like, oh, that's it? Okay, well, thank you. So that was all. Little did I know that a week later, I received a bill in the mail that all of the lab tests that they've done cost me $440 extra, which was insane to me. So, again, that was back in January 17th. I got really upset. I got really mad. I didn't understand. So, what did I pay for $364 for then? I still don't know. I wanted to go and ask, but then I was like, I just can't do this anymore. I called the lab, and the lab told me, like, yeah, no, it's not like we charge you for the 440. That's how we're supposed to charge you for. So there's that. Uh, okay. The next step that I took was that my husband, my spouse, let's call it like that, my spouse had to file a form, which was I-130, and it's the form that you can file online. So we decided to make this one online, and then to have the rest of them send actual paper, because the form I-130 that it's called, I don't actually haven't marked it down here how it's called. Let me see. Petition for alien relative. There you go. Petition for alien relative. So that means that my spouse was able to file for his spouse, meaning me, to get the green card. The form costs $535. You need to make an account on the USCIS website, and then to start filling in the form. There's a lot of information. You need to pay very much attention. As I told you, I have followed some instructions. So you need to read very carefully what the instructions are saying on the governmental page. Unfortunately, the language is a little bit difficult to understand. So sometimes I was like, I don't even know what they mean by this. And the main problem that we had, and I hope it's not going to bite me back in the ass, is that both my husband and I, we work in film production and film festivals. So our jobs have been kind of like working self-employed, working for different, basically, companies and so on. And they are asking proof of your last 5 years of jobs that you had, both him and I. And you don't even have the space. Like, are you kidding me? Like, he, not that much for me, but he worked for like tens and tens of movies and films and TV shows and projects in the last 5 years. It's like insane. So we kind of organized them in a way. I hope that's not going to bite us in the ass. That's the one thing that I wasn't very sure how to do it. But together with the form I-130, we also had to add 130A, which is the supplemental information for spouse beneficiary. So basically, that's the information about me. And then we also I needed to file the form I-864, and we went with the EZ form. So it's it's called affidavit of support. So it's basically proof of support of financial, that the my spouse can support me basically during this process of green card. 864 has more than just one form. So pay attention, because people didn't know about this. Pay attention to what kind of support you are going to show proof of, because when you do that, um, you might need to use another form. So our case, it was 864EZ, and that is for people who decide to show proof of financial support from just one person. So we decided to just go with his financial system, and that would be again form 864AZ. So he had enough income that made sense to apply only from his side, and that meant that he can support a family of two, him and I, because we are the only ones living under this address. And we needed to make sure that we have 150% over the poverty line for a family of two. They are providing, USCIS is providing that information, so make sure you check under the forms information and so on, because that's changing, I think, each year. So I'm not even going to tell you, but you need to check and make sure that you have that information. And this is what we've done. So what we managed to do is to send a tax return. You will see, if you have like pay stubs or whatever it is, um, the tax return and so on of the last 3 years. And for us, it was 2021, 2020, and 2019. So that was the what we decided to do. Now, together with this form, we decided to also add the I don't know how you call it, bona fides, bon feeds, bon. I don't know how you pronounce that. Um, which is again to get like it's a requested extra material basically for the form I-130, in which you need to show proof of the relationship. Now, my relationship obviously is it's real. We got together back in 2019, so we've been together over 3 years. We did a lot of trips together. So what I decided to do is to go on Canva. I went on Canva. I think by now everybody knows about Canva. If not, you can choose whatever you want to do. And I made PDF files with the trips that we took. So I didn't just send them pictures or random stuff. I made PDF files. So, like, for example, one PDF file that is like, I don't know, 5 pages, but it's just one file, would have plane tickets, accommodation tickets, pictures from the place where we visited. My understanding is that a lot of people are saying that one of the main trips that would matter is if the American citizen has traveled into the country where the spouse is coming from. And in my case, it was both Romania and Iceland. And so I've put there the trips from Iceland, I put the trips from Romania, and then also when we went to Ecuador and Mexico, with Florida when I was there over the Christmas. So I met his family. I realized that we are not the kind of people who are taking so many pictures when we hang out with our friends and so on. And for once, I was like, oh, maybe we should have done this, because we could have very easily show proof of friends. But like that, I'm hanging out with his friends and he's hanging out with my friends. But we didn't have any pictures of my friends back in Romania with him, because I didn't take any. And then we had pictures with my family and him, and then pictures with his family and him. So those were the proof that this relationship is real. But then I also made another file in which I showed the fact that I was on his mobile company, like my phone number, I switch it to his subscription basically. Then I even showed that we have Spotify Duo, that is for people who live under the same roof plan. So I even showed that one. um and we made my he made another credit card. For his credit card, he made one under my name basically, so it's his credit card but it's under my name. So I also showed proof of that, because it was still January, February, and we were just kind of starting, and I didn't have any other proof. Normally, depending when you apply for this, normally you could show proof that you have a mortgage together, or that you are paying taxes, or you have joint taxes together, or stuff like that. But since it wasn't the case quite yet, and I wasn't able to legally work in the United States back then, I couldn't add any of these. I think this would be stronger later on. Okay, so that was form I-30 that he put it online. So all of this was online. And we also needed passport photos. And I decided, because I've done the same one back in the day when I applied in 2016, when I applied to be a tourist, when I applied for my tourist visa for United States, I decided to, um, I I was in Iceland, and Iceland is expensive. So I decided to ask a friend to just take a picture of me and then go on online tools that could make the photo exactly how they need it in order for me to get the photo. And that's still the photo that I have in my passport on my visa. That is still the same photo. So I was like, we can do this. I can take a picture of us. So the online, I've done the same. So I took a picture with my phone of both of us because we need it for both of us. um, and I use again the online tool that would make it exactly how they need it in order for it to be approved. And then we sent it. So that was on February 8th. Ever since then, unfortunately, it only says that it has been received and it's actively being reviewed. So since 8th of February is being stuck on being actively reviewed. So no more information about that. Now, the last form that I applied for. Oh, did I mention that it cost $535? I don't remember. I'm gonna tell you again. So that was the money for that. Then the last form, which is the my form, was I-485, which is called application to register permanent resident or adjust status. Adjust status basically means, because I came in with a tourist visa, I got married, which was never my plan, to be honest with you. And now I saw something on my blouse. I'm sorry for the listeners. I saw something on my dress that is not looking nice, and now I'm focusing. I have a little bit of ADHD because I saw this and I cannot do anything else now until I finish making this not look like shit. Okay, anyway, kind of. Um, so yeah, that was the amount of money that I paid for the form 485. It cost 1,225, which included the biometrics that cost $85. Um, that you would be required to do, regardless of approval or not approval, basically. As far as I know. Anyway, so we got to form 485. Now, this one was a difficult one. We only managed to, so again, we applied the online one on the 8th of February, and we only managed to send this form in, like actual paper, on the February 27th, basically. So what that meant was that we needed to do a few more forms. One of them was the form I-131, which is the form application for travel document. So basically, I decided to apply for that just in case I was planning to travel outside of United States. Uh, but I'm gonna get into it for a moment in a second. And then I also applied with I-765, which is application for employment authorization, and that would give me the I would be able to legally work until they process my green card. I would be able to legally work in United States because I can't. I'm I'm not saying that my spouse doesn't have it, but like I am on no income currently, and I have been spending money, and as much money as I put aside, it's still like I haven't been on an income for a while. So I need to do something, and that is needed for me to get a job. Okay, now let me get into. Oh, I just hit the microphone. Now let me get into each one of them. The I-485 is the main form, in which again is asking the same, some of the same information that I already applied for when I added, for example, the 130A, the supplemental information about me. And it's also very important to write the same thing because, as I told you, it's a bit difficult. And also, I had to write where I lived in the last 5 years. And luckily, my husband has not lived anywhere else, but I lived in like four different places, or I don't remember how many, but like I lived in the last 5 years. Yeah, like I truly lived in, like, in Iceland, in one, two, three places in Romania, and then now in United States. So it was a bit of a, yeah. Anyway, another thing that I didn't know and I could not find anywhere the information about it, and I just again once again went with my gut, was that people were not people, sorry, um the form is also requiring kind of the same proof of bona fides or whatever, and I didn't add any of that because I said that I have already sent it with the other form. So I didn't want to print, because in my mind was like, then what's the point of filing that one online and this one mail? Because it was like, I'm not gonna now print the PDF files that I've sent. So I'm just hoping that those two go together, because they should go together, because I filed them jointly, or whatever is the expression. 1 second to have a sip of tea. Okay, so I said that I'm not gonna do that. I made sure. Oh, and this time around, I needed again photos. So this time around, I actually just went to a place close by that they take pictures, and I needed, I think, 6 pictures for each form that I sent. Basically, two for each form that I sent. I don't remember if it was 6 or 4. I don't remember. Basically, it's always 2 pictures for a form. So when they ask for pictures, for passport pictures in a form, they are asking for that. Anyway, what's crazy is that they already took the pictures of me, the biometrics. So why the fuck? Like, I feel like some things have just not been adjusted. I don't know why they need so many pictures of me. Anyway, it's fine. I'm just saying that that also costs money, and I don't remember. Maybe 20 to 12 bucks. I don't remember how much. So we sent the most important thing that we sent. So we didn't get any actual help other than with the taxes, because again on my form, the 485, it was asking again the taxes, the return of taxes, and all of that. And so that form, because it was asking the actual papers, and we didn't know how to print, and they were asking for specific, like this thing, not the other thing. So make very sure you read very well what is written there. For me, it didn't make sense, because I'm not coming from a country where federal income and local or whatever city income is like a different thing. We don't have that in Romania, and we don't have that in Iceland. So I don't know how this works. So you need help from an American citizen that knows what is that about. But we decided to get the help from his accountant. So he contacted the accountant, and the accountant printed everything, and he gave us like a very large document with all of his file return, like tax returns and all that. That was very professionally made, and we added that to the file when we sent the whole document in. Just so you know, it can be a few, like I think it could be a few hundreds of pages, the package that you're going to send to USCIS. Okay, so when that was done, I'm going to tell you the form I-131. I applied at the same time. I put it in there as well. And together with these forms, we have also filed in the form G1145, which is e-notification of application. So basically, when you put this one in, they're going to inform you either on your phone number or on your email that they received all of these papers, and so you can keep a track. And they're going to give you a number that you can go back to USCIS to check the status of your form. And then we also had to fill in the form G1450, which is authorization for credit card transaction because my spouse decided to pay by credit card, and that meant that we needed to file in another form to give the authorization for money to be taken from that account. Okay, so all of this together, they were sent, as I said, on February 27th. And um, then I can tell you exactly, on 4th of March, I received notification that I was scheduled. I received the notification that I was scheduled for my biometrics. Now, the fact that I was scheduled for my biometrics in less than a month, that was good news for me because it meant that, oh my God, maybe we did everything so good that we actually, like it's not a difficult case. They're not gonna ask for more information or anything like that. And so um I was really excited about that, but I was scared because if you remember what I said the previous episode was that we were just about to go to Las Vegas. And we've been to Las Vegas and the Grand Canyon. I'm going to tell you a few words about that at the end of this episode. Um, in So I said, yeah, I was scared that they're gonna require me to go to the biometrics in that 1 week when we be to Las Vegas and Grand Canyon and so on. Right. And so what I decided to do, no, sorry. And then so I was very scared. So I was like, oh, let me log in really quick and see what's happening. Luckily, I was scheduled for the 22nd of March. What were the chances, man? 22nd of March, and we were leaving on the 25th. Ah, I was such a big relief. And now let me tell you how that worked, and then I will tell you the last moments, like the last timeline and where I am currently. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about the trip. Hopefully, I'm going to tell you a lot more in a future episode. Anyway, so the biometrics. First and foremost, you are scheduled for your biometrics in your area. My area means Brooklyn, so I was scheduled for USCIS office in Brooklyn. Um, and because I hate taking buses, now I'm starting to understand why people were saying that buses suck. It's just that it's so crowded and it's so annoying. Whatever. I decided to walk, and it was like 1 hour and 10 minutes walk from where I live, and I was like, I don't care, I can do it. Walk there, walk back. I don't give a fuck. And so I decided to do that. However, the building itself, the office itself, is in a building that looks a bit like a mall or something like that. And like an idiot, I got there and I got confused that I'm not supposed to enter there. And then I went all around the building in the back where is actually Angro supermarket. And then I had to come all the way back in the front. And I'm like, oh my God. And there was like a long, long freaking line. And I'm like, oh, I don't know why I thought that I'm gonna be the only one scheduled for 1 o'clock. It did not dawn on me that they are taking like 100 people or something like that in within 1 hour. Didn't dawn on me. So I went and I asked the last guy that was waiting in the line, and he was telling me that he doesn't speak English. And I was like, "What language do you speak?" I was like, maybe I speak the language." What were the chances? And then he's telling me, I think he said Ukrainian, and I was like, "Oh no." Oh no, the Ukrainian war. I mean, honestly, it's Russian war. You know what? It's Russian war. It's not Ukrainian war. And I was like, oh no, I can't. Oh. Anyway, and I didn't even tell him that. Oh, you're my neighbor. Hi, neighbor. Um, so I went all the way in the front, and I was like, I just need to ask, like, is everybody? Because he said that he's at 2 o'clock, and I was like, oh, wait, where's the 1 o'clock people? So I think he was the only one booked at 2 o'clock, and he was the last one. So I went and I asked people, "Are you at 1 o'clock?" And I hate doing that, but like I was like, I had to do it. Like when I'm really pressured into talking with people that I don't know, I'm doing it. And so I did that. I asked around, and everybody told me, "Yeah, yeah, we are one, we are one, we are one." So then I go back to the guy, and I'm like, "Can I be in front of you since you are 2 o'clock and I'm 1 o'clock?" And then this guy starts talking to me, like this man. And long story short, we started talking together, like to talking for a while. He was from Brazil. He was actually applying for his citizenship. He was speaking like not like any other Brazilians that I've met, not that I know, but like not like any other Brazilians that I've met before. Um, he was speaking Spanish. He was speaking obviously Portuguese. I got to tell him obrigada. At least, Duolingo. I've been doing Duolingo last year. I haven't done that much last year, to be honest with you, but 2021 was the year when I really did some Duolingo for Portuguese. Anyway, my point is that um so I talked with the man. It was really interesting. He was really interested in Romanian and all that. It was very nice to talk with someone. Then we got there, we had our paper because you receive in the mail, I forgot to say this, you also receive in the mail, so you receive the notification, but then you receive in the mail the basically invitation, and the form that you need to fill in, like like a one page form that you need to fill in with your information. um and so you have to have that with you with your documentation, and since I changed my last name, I had to also have the marriage certificate to prove that that's I changed my last name. And so in doing that, you get first, so you are queuing there for 1 o'clock. Then there is a first office that is checking your papers to see that you're good and you have everything check in. Then you are waiting in line um for another what's it called, office, like somebody else is going to check um your papers. So they are think they are putting like 10, 20 people at the same time or something like that. So we went, I kept talking with the men, and unfortunately we were separated by the way where we had to wait for chairs, because he was all the way at the end of one row and I was all the way at the end of the other row, so we weren't able to chat anymore. And I kind of wanted to keep in touch with him, but then he went before me, and when I came out he already left. So there's that. But um what also want to mention is that you wait there. So when you go to the next image, not the next image, the next window, they are gonna give you, like, they're gonna check again the paper, and then they're gonna give you like a stamp that it's okay. So with that one you go, then you wait on the chair, and then you keep going forward. Then when your turn comes, they need to take a picture of you. When I have glasses, I need to take the glasses off, and then they need to take all of my fingerprints, and it's digitally, it's not with ink anymore, obviously. And then I also had to sign. It's going to tell you in your, I think, because not everybody needs to do, so it's either all three of them or just one of them. My opinion is that they already had all of this when I arrived in US the first time, but I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So I've done that. I was really happy. And then on the same day, I received notification that they are producing my card. And I was like, what? So they were producing my application for like my employment authorization card. It's called EAD, employment authorization card. And I was like, oh my God. So on the same day when I did my biometrics, then I managed to get uh the 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 card. So they gave me a notification that they are producing the card. Then on March 31st they got me a notification. I received a notification that the card was produced. Then on April 3rd, I received an information that the card was picked up by the USPS. And then on the April 5th, I received my employment authorization card. So now I am authorized to work in the United States. I started to apply for jobs. Wish me luck. But for now, it looks like everything is going smoothly. And so another thing that I need to mention is that when I applied for the form, like in the beginning, when I put the form 485, you have there in one of the pages, if you have a social security number, you need to put it down. If you don't, you can request one. and I applied for requesting one because my understanding was that you need a social security number regardless. So it's kind of going to cut into the delay, and you won't need to go to another office. Technically they will need to send it to you. Now I need to wait for that. My understanding is that it should arrive in 7 business days, or in 7 days since you received the EAD card. So hopefully I'm going to get it this week or the following week, and I'm going to have social security number, and then technically that's it for now. I have to also mention though that the travel document is filed together with the application for employment, and my case is closed, and I am not allowed to leave the country quite yet. I have not received the travel document. My EAD card has written on it that I cannot use it to re-entry the United States. So also for whoever is doing this, they decided to split them apart, so then they kind of hurry. And my only hope is that they decided not to give me that, because they are going to give me the green card rather on a faster thing. Now the next steps that are going to happen is to be required for me to and my spouse to go together to an interview, and after that we are supposed to get I'm supposed to get the green card. They have been skipping interviews, and I'm hoping that it's going to be my case as well, especially for people who have been married less than 2 years, because they are planning to take the interview in 2 years when you need to reapply. uh, so the green card that I would get would be only valid for 2 years, because after those 2 years they need to see proof that the marriage still exists and it's still valid and so on. And so my understanding is that they've been doing this thing in which trying to catch up with the backlog. They are not having the interview. They are just giving the green card directly, if the case is solid and all that. And then they might be actually just getting the interview in 2 years' time, when you're going to need to file again with some forms and so on. So this is where I am. I can't believe that I actually managed to talk for like 47 minutes. And for a second I was like, oh my god, I think I'm finishing talking, and I didn't talk enough. And now I'm like, oh my god, I almost talked for 1 hour. Oh, anyway, thank you for, if you're still with me right now, thank you for doing that. Remember, I have not done any of the banners and any of the that. So this is Traveling Inside Out, and you can find it on any podcast platform. And if you want to get in touch with me, or any, or you want to see more of me or pictures or something that I wrote, you can find it on my website, alinaigrad.com. I'm still working on coming back to it and writing more. And now, to just tell you very shortly, the trip that we went to was amazing. We went to Las Vegas for 2 nights, 2 days, 2 nights. Then we went to Grand Canyon. We saw the South Rim. Then we saw the Horseshoe Bend. Then we went and we saw Bryce Park and Zion Park, and Bryce Canyon and Zion Park. And it was just sublime. And I loved the road trip. We basically did a loop around Las Vegas and around the Grand Canyon area. March is a challenging month to go in. It's not that crowded, but it could be. The weather can be challenging, especially in the Bryce Park area. Um, and I am looking forward to tell you a lot more about how I've made some very stupid, silly beginner tourist mistakes while in Las Vegas, how we managed the accommodation, where did we book the car, and all of that. I'm going to tell you in a future episode. Uh, but I also have to say that if you have any questions, again, I told you you can get in touch with me at alinaigrad.com, or you can send me an email. I have to say that I'm excited about my it's a historic moment for me to be able to legally work in the United States. Now also let's just see if I'm able to get any jobs wish me luck. I'm trying to get jobs in film festivals initially, but anything other jobs, I'm applying for different things as well. And with that, I want to thank you. Nobody joined me live. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna persevere. I want to thank you for being with me for like almost 1 hour. And let me know if you have any questions, and I'm going to keep updating you regarding my situation, even when I get a job or I book a gig or something. But technically now, sky is the limit and not even that. So yeah, thank you very much for enjoying, or not enjoying, I hope you're enjoying this episode, and I'm gonna see you next time. This concludes today's episode. Thank you for listening and for reviewing Traveling Inside Out. If you want to get in touch with me, send an email to podcast@alinaigrad.com. And remember, your outer journey begins with inner work. Until next time, bye.